Alright guys, I'm SOREKSEM. Today I'm going to talk about Human. I want to break down the lyrics a bit more. It's a pretty complicated song, pretty deep. A lot of the meaning is not directly implied, it's indirect. So I thought it'd be worth explaining the lyrics a little bit. I'm just going to walk around while I explain because I feel like I'd rather be active because it helps the fucking juices to usually understand. So that's basically spiritual ego, right? I thought that I was already above everything, that once insight of the nature of the world and yourself is received, then that becomes something you are, right? But you can't grab insight. It doesn't become something that you are. It just comes and then it goes and then that's it. What is. It's like I still had work to do. I'm still a human, right? I still have insecurities that I need to face. And being human means to be limited in your capacity. Not being my own true person, acting a certain way that's expected of me rather than is authentic to me. But it's also going out in the world and spending my time doing things that aren't aligned with my values and what aren't aligned with my goals. Basically, me doing music, me making YouTube videos, expressing myself, do dance, for example, is a way for me to confront what I believe at this point to be my core wound, which is the inability to express myself authentically, right? So I'm using this. Obviously, it's a two-way thing, right? People are receiving the art. Hopefully, they're enjoying it or relating to it. But it's also more so that it's an exercise for me to become whole within myself. That's like the 51% of why I'm doing it. Yeah, so growing up, obviously I was a witness to narcissistic abuse of other people in the household, especially my mum, or all of us. But that's like a notable example. And then obviously myself, because I copped it. He could blow up at anything, right? Any sort of polarity, any emotion, positive, negative, dad, I shit my pants, dad, I'm hungry, dad, I'm happy, dad, look at the drawing I made, whatever, any energy, it could be punished, right? So you had to walk within the borders, right, of what was acceptable, which is like not much. That's the self-explanatory bar. My mum's probably the strongest person that I've ever met or know of. Yeah. So I want to emphasize that we were never forcefully kept there. I'm just saying forbidden to run, so to speak, is because we had nowhere to go. We're just children and my mum had nowhere to go. She had no friends. She was isolated by her husband and she had nowhere to go to. So this bar, I like this bar because it's interpreted in two ways. It has, you could say, like the obvious meaning that you would think it has upon first listening, which is that the child is internalizing everything that's happening to him. This terror isn't error, it was meant for me, supposed to be. But the meaning that I had when I wrote it was more so that, and this lends more into the theme that's expressed in the second verse, which is that no matter what bullshit you're forced to go through when at any point in life, you're forced to go through it for a reason, and there are no mistakes in life. What is what God has willed is never a mistake, right? You're never presented with something that you can't overcome. So that's the trade-off, right? As a child, you've now built up these protective mechanisms, which for me, for example, is I'm not very expressive with my face because any emotion could be punished. So even now, I'm not a very expressive person with my face, unless I choose to be. There's always that distance and I'm not very impulsive with it. Like if I'm gonna smile, it's a conscious thing, because I have to scan for danger and then tell myself, oh, okay, it's okay to smile. So now I'm psychologically safe, right? I've built up this protective mechanism, right? Because I'm not expressing, so now I can't get barked at for anything. But the trade-off is that your own inner light is dim, because you're not being true to yourself, true to your own experience, true to your own emotions, your own perceptions. That's the trade-off. I wanted that love on plate, I wanted to include that because I didn't want to make it seem like we were abused physically in any way, because that wasn't the case. We had all our physical needs met perfectly. But it's important to note that psychological damage and inner damage has physical consequences, because us men that are traumatized like this psychologically, we go out into the world and then we have physical consequences for other people. We go out into the world and we start wars, we start all this bullshit. That's damaged masculine energy, right? So that's why all the healing always starts off within, because it has real physical consequences eventually. And then the graffiti line, I want to emphasize that graffiti, I don't look back on that negatively at all. That was the highlight of my life. Yeah. But I thought I wanted to include it because it was a big part of like those years. But you could say there probably is a relation between the shit that I went through in childhood and enjoying graffiti so much, because that is expression. You're going out into the world and you have this freedom. You're throwing up tags everywhere, and then there you are, you're seen, and like your identity is there on the wall and it's validated in the real urban environment. That'd be a cool thing to look into. So 16, year 10, that's when I first tried ecstasy, MDMA. And that was a big perspective shift, because for me, the biggest thing was this concept of jealousy, where someone else's positive is a negative for you. Made zero sense to me, obviously. Everyone's done M before. You're just fully empathetic to other people. You want to look out for other people, that yada, yada, yada. But it flipped a switch in my mind where, okay, my whole outer world was changed just because of something that I took within me. And that really intrigued me. The fact that this can change by changing this. And so that's when I started my spiritual path. I started looking deeper into things, psychedelic, spirituality, whatnot, meditation. I was meditating at one point, 16, 17, I was meditating every single day in the library for 20 minutes. So that's half a lunch consistently. So that's when the altruism began. I thought, okay, I'm going to live my life to improve other people's lives. And I thought at that point, okay, maybe drugs could be the way forward, right? Psychedelics, MDMA, whatever. Only now this is just starting to pick up, like therapeutic use of MDMA and psilocybin. But back then, 2016, it didn't exist. And yeah, pair that with the fact that I was 16, it's like I couldn't tell anyone this. That's when I thought, well, yeah, one of the things after I had M for the first time, I thought, damn, if this thing just makes me like want to be altruistic and help out other people, well, then why the hell is it illegal? And it makes you wonder, like, are there people, or at least forces within people, that are stopping this from being known? Your upbringing, childhood trauma and whatnot, or it could be the story that we've been told about why certain things are the way they are. For example, drugs, like I just stated in that previous bar. It's just about questioning the stories that we have, stories about ourselves, stories about the world, why things are the way they are, why I am the way I am, right? Stories in general. Following yourself, following your own intuition before anything out here, any authority, any dogma, being your own leader. So psilocybin and shrooms, I wanted to include that because that is also, if I had to put like any two drugs in terms of like the most helpful tools, it would be those two: psilocybin, shrooms, and MDMA. But I want to emphasize that they're tools and they can be misused. You can kill someone with a hammer. You can build a house with a hammer. It's a tool. So I had these big ambitions from 16, right? But then when I got to 18, I kind of traded it. I didn't trade it in. It wasn't a conscious thing. It's just that I had lost my way because I never really knew who I was on a deep level. And that comes down to not creating your own identity outside of the one that you've been prescribed through childhood trauma. So that's basically just the frustrations, right? If only I didn't have this fucking bullshit from my childhood, and if only I didn't have this thing hindering me from being able to express myself, then I'll be able to express myself. But as we'll see further on in the song, that's the point. You're given these things to overcome, to become better, because that's a part of being human. You have to be flawed and you have to be able to overcome your flaws and love yourself and to strive for always being better. Not perfect, but better. The forces acting against wholeness. I'll let you interpret that how you want to interpret that. The thing blocking the way is the way. So when I say duality made you, I don't mean it made you. I'm saying duality made you, this concept of you. Me, you. Observer, the observed. Tree, camera. Ultimately, it's the same thing. It's just energy. It's just different forms of energy. It's just that me, the state that I'm in now, this dual state, which I exist in and everyone basically exists in 99% of the time, unless they're enlightened or they're on psychedelics, is, this dual state. Where was I getting at? For example, like colors, right? There's nothing actually separating purple from yellow, right? It's only a division that we make in the mind, because everything is a spectrum. Where you draw the line is up to you. That's a decision, but it's not defined outside of that decision. All action in the universe, all disturbance in the universe, all movement in the universe, the reason anything occurs is just to achieve a state of balance. And that's between things that are living, non-living. That's the reason why we eat, why we shit, why we love, why salt tastes good, why sugar tastes good. It's all to achieve some sort of balance. And that extends to physics in general, everything in the world. And homeostasis is just one thing you can call it, or you can call it balance, you can call it God, you can call it 47. Basically, the name that you give it, it doesn't matter, because that's still just a part of the whole. And when people argue about different labels, that their version of whatever it is correct, it's funny. It's like trivial. It doesn't matter what these individual sources of truth are singing, right? Because it's the same audience member, the maker, the one that's listening to me speak in this video, the one that's listening to my music, the one that is observing this, that is God. That one awareness. That awareness within you is the same awareness within me. It's just the separation within that awareness. Yeah, man, that's the song. That's Human. I thought it was a good introduction. Human. Because that's ultimately what we are. That's what we're trying to express. This humanness, right? Before we ever try to ascend or try to reach something greater than what is here, it starts off with being human. But I still wanted to include a bit of metaphysical mumbo jumbo nonsense. But yeah, man, that's human.